There's a price to pay for speaking the truth. There's a bigger price for living a lie. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you aren't missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. I saw a few weeks ago that Tom MacDonald released a new song called Dirty Money. And I'm intrigued by the title, but I'm also excited to welcome the Hangover Gang back to my channel because I had such a positive experience in my previous reactions, just seeing rational dialogue between adults, or I'm assuming mostly adults, but just rational dialogue of people, some that agreed and were affirming each other, some that disagreed and were learning from each other. Imagine that, that's how we should be doing this. But it was so uplifting to see that, so I'm excited to hopefully see more of that in this reaction. So this wasn't a request from a Patreon, just something I personally wanted to do, but if you haven't had a chance to check out my Patreon, please make sure to do so. Link is in the description. Every single dime goes toward my mental health outreach. You get some pretty amazing perks, including priority song requests. But today I'm going to be reacting to Dirty Money by Tom MacDonald.
They're angry that they'll never shut me up. I'm making more noise. Turn me up or turn me down, it's your choice. Black lives only matter when they got a corpse to exploit. Cause the media made millions off the protests for George Floyd. That's called ad revenue. They make cash selling you all the crap in the ads while they broadcast news. Ooh, the network full of liars got investment capital and segments sponsored by Pfizer. And the freedom fighters, I feel like the left just plans them to infiltrate the right. It's extensive planning. Then it happens overnight. It's impressive branding. Make $1 million off of shirts that say let's go Brandon. It's a
oh my god.
Amazon made billions of dollars from sanitizer and black masks, and that's that. Funny how the terrorists who attack always come from places that are oil rich and have gas. Democrats, they don't give a damn. What is this about? Our military trapped in the Middle East, can't get them out. Heroes are the ones who had the Constitution written down. Y'all are using hero while describing Kyle Rittenhouse. 1 cent, 2 cent.
There's just so many times that you're going, yep, yeah, oh my god, that's how I feel like these songs are. Watching him just look around at the rubble was a bit depressing to me. Just seeing all of this money, seeing the corruption, just kind of him looking around, that expression really spoke to me because that's how I often feel, is I'm just standing in the rubble and I don't know what to do. Oh my god, the Let's Go Brandon shirt. My boyfriend, bless his heart, I love him dearly, but has one of those shirts, and I'm just thinking, first and foremost, we're all adults here. If you can't save Joe Biden or whoever, don't even bother. Like, I just don't understand how that became such cash grab, but it did. Like many other things, it was just another way for people to exploit the issues to make money. But, you know, like I said, I was really scared when I did my first Tom MacDonald reaction, and I try to stay very neutral when discussing things because I feel that, as I said, I don't want this community to be divisive. I want everyone to know, and I'm just reiterating this now before I dive into the lyrics, I really want everyone to know that regardless of any arbitrary things, be it your belief system, your skin color, your preference, whatever the case is, your gender, I don't care. You are welcome here and I love you. That being said, I want to speak my truth today. I want to give my opinion today and my insights a little deeper into the song, so I hope you guys can continue to hold space for that. And you know what? If you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I still love you. But I do want to touch on a few things here, starting with the Black Lives Matter. Look, I don't know anyone who disagrees with that statement, or at least don't know anyone personally that disagrees with that statement. I know there's some extremist fringe groups, but myself and Tom included, sure, nobody disagrees with that statement, but it's the interpretations and the short-sightedness of the social movement itself that many take issue with. And the reason for that is it's cherry-picked and it's steeped with cognitive dissonance, and that for me has resulted in this counterproductive ideology based on misinformed and ironically racist assertions. And as for the media, I don't think they report anymore. I think that they exploit, and I think that they incite, so I think he was spot on about that. And touching on Rittenhouse. So I didn't follow the entire trial, but I did look into the story, the basics of it, so I consider myself to have a pretty full-rounded insight on it. But it did seem that the media on both sides wanted to either make him a hero or make him a cold-blooded murderer. And that falls into this false dilemma fallacy that there's only two choices here, when in fact, two things can be true. This kid's judgment was lacking to begin with, and, you know, he acted on instinct and self-defense when the consequences of said actions played out. But I think Tom's point here is that people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Caitlyn Jenner can be considered heroes. That's who we're going to hand the honor of hero to these days. And I have no problem with Caitlyn. I'm a big supporter of the LGBTQ community, just so you guys know. But I think that if that's who we're going to hand the title of hero to, then the word is really being watered down.
3 cents for we get less and they get more. By insult since we were born. They want money. We want dirty dollars fill their pockets while our coffins fill the ground. They make profits solving problems they create to keep us down.
Oh my god.
Dirty money. Dirty money. I don't want your dirty money. They might kill me for the song, it's all classified intelligence. Don't need to go to war to secretly be getting benefits. When Russia launches rockets, we condemn them, but there's evidence a US politician owns the screws they're assembled with. Ain't no war on drugs, it's economic. You make money off an inmate, every jail cell is profit. Our prisons are privately owned, illegal marijuana just mean kids smoking weed turn to dollars in their pockets, let's be honest. Domestic threats in comparison to nuclear powers who hate the West is embarrassing. Still we label truckers in the convoy as terrorists and confiscate donations, we have no idea where it is. A pipeline leaks, price of gas goes higher. Stock market crash, everybody gets fired. Economy is weak while we trying to beat a virus. $1 trillion in debt to China. We celebrate the smallest battles we're winning, so they can publish the headline that's gonna fuel division. But if we champion the crumbs, then it's crumbs that we're given. And we don't make any progress, we're stuck at the beginning.
Oh, I guess it's gonna go back into the chorus there. We really are making no progress because we're accepting crumbs. We become complacent. We think that we have no power, and that is wrong. That is so very wrong. As for the war on drugs, look, I've been in the world of drugs, and since going into recovery 5 years ago next month, actually, yay me. Since going into recovery, I actively support prevention and education surrounding addiction. But this whole concept of a war on drugs is deceitful, and that's using the nicest word I could possibly think of. The rampant corruption and the blatant treason of individuals claiming to investigate these criminal organizations is abominable. And get me started on the privatized prison system. Okay, get me started on the privatized prison system. I think that it does more harm than good. I think that it encourages quotas, and you're bestowing a lifelong criminal record on petty criminals, petty offenders, which is often pushing them into a cycle of crime, because it's very hard to break that cycle. And take it from someone who's currently filing a pardon for a crime I committed decades ago when I was barely 18 years old, so my prefrontal cortex was not even developed, but that is still preventing me, decades later, from living a normal life. And I just don't think that this privatized prison system is the way to address crime. But until we stop having this mindset of power and profit, we're going to continue having broken systems.
Cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, 4. We get less and they get more. By insult since we were born. They want money. We want dirty dollars fill their pockets while our coffins fill the ground. They make profits solving problems they create to keep us down. Dirty money. Dirty money. I don't want your dirty money. Not enough soap to scrub, it's soaked in blood. It's all about the money, 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 money. Every time we make a buck, they take from us. It's all about the money, 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 money. The dollar runs our lives until we die. It's all about the money, 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 money. It controls your mind and it controls mine. Dirty dollars fill their pockets while our coffins fill the ground. They make profits solving problems they create to keep us down. Dirty money. Dirty money. I don't want your
make sure that you are showing your support. I think that this is a very important movement that we can be part of right now. I will say that I think when he says that he wants war, that we want war, he's talking about a civil war. So I think some people might misinterpret that as him inciting war, but I think it's civil war in the sense of we want to fight back, but many of us are just unsure how to do so effectively. And, well, Tom, I think you're on the right track. I think you're on the right track of getting us into this battle, leading us into this battle. I don't think that the social groups are malicious. The politicians, they are absolutely malicious. They're all in it for the money and the power. But I think many of the social groups, I don't think that they're malicious. I think that they're simply misled, and they're pointing at the splinters in the eyes of their opponents while ignoring the log in their own, and they're not addressing the entire spectrum of issues for each individual movement. And instead of empowerment, instead of being about empowerment, which is what a lot of these social movements used to be about, is empowerment and true equality, genuine equality, it's become about villainizing the very people that used to be your allies, the people that want to support your message but can't support your movement. And that's how I feel about many of those social movements, is that I support your message, like I said in the beginning, but I don't support your movement because of the angles it's taking and the fact that it's cherry picking so much. But the line that every time he said it just broke my heart was the dirty dollars filling pockets while our coffins fill the ground, because that hurts so much to think about, because I've lost people to these systems. And all of our systems are broken because all of our systems, as he's saying, are now about profit. They're about money. They're not about people. They're about power and profit and prestige, and they're not about serving us anymore. The medical system, the legal system, the tax system, the education system, they're all broken. And just, I feel discouraged and empowered at the same time when I hear songs like this, because it's, oh my gosh, there's so much. There's just so many issues that need to be addressed, and so many things that need to be fixed, and it can feel very overwhelming. But then when I see how much traction Tom's getting, I'm thinking, okay, people are finally starting to see that we have a problem, and that's the first step. We're seeing that we have this problem, but the system wants us sick and uneducated because there's more money to be made that way. And awareness, as Tom is doing, is important, but I think that while that's a start, we have to realize that we have power. You have power. Stop living an unhealthy lifestyle and becoming a slave to a broken medical system that just wants to profit off of you. It does not care about you getting better. It does not care about you healing. It wants to profit off of you. Stop being a zombie and pursue your own education, pursue your own knowledge, and stop getting it from media, political or social. Stop getting your knowledge from media, because that's not knowledge at all. It's what these people want you to see. And I wanted to touch a bit on the study that I had mentioned, because I did do a study for my research class about the connection between political media and mental health and depression symptoms. And I have to say, stop watching the news under the guise of being informed, because if ratings drop, they'll change their tune real fast. But let me just give you a bit of insight on the study that I did for my research class. So I actually did my own full study. I got participants, and what I ended up finding was, well, actually, let me give you a bit of background on the study itself. So half of the participants were to watch political media aligning with their beliefs, and half the participants were to watch political media that were opposed to their beliefs. And there was a pretty balanced mix of conservatives, liberals, and people that were more middle ground. So that was very important to me, was making sure that we had balance as much as possible. But for 3 days, each person was asked to watch an hour of political media a day. And then at the end of those 3 days, they would take the Beck Depression Inventory, which is one of the things that professionals use to measure the construct of depression. So at the end of the 3 days of being exposed to an hour a day, they took the Beck Depression inventory. And then they were asked to abstain from political media for 10 days. And then they were asked to take the Beck Depression inventory again. And the interesting thing about this is that not only was there about a 50% difference, so after they watched the political media for 3 days, an hour a day, their depression levels were pretty significant. And after abstaining for 10 days, on average, they dropped about 50%. So depression levels dropped 50%. Here's the interesting part that I didn't see coming. It didn't matter if it aligned or opposed their beliefs, and it didn't matter whether they were left, right, or middle. It had the same effect of having a negative impact on their mental health. And I could have predicted some of that. I did predict some of that. My hypothesis was that depression levels would drop after abstaining from political media for those 10 days. And I was right, they did. But I just think that people justify that, oh, well, I'm staying informed. Or they justify, oh, I just want to be part of the solution. You're not being part of the solution by watching the news. You're being part of the solution when you genuinely educate yourself. You're being part of the solution when you're using your voice to speak out in, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a happy, cheerful, chipper voice, but in a positive way, meaning not attacking other people constantly and blaming everyone else for the demise of certain populations or certain groups or certain things. I think that everyone is just really developing this victim mentality of, well, I'm so attacked, I'm so marginalized. And I do think that there is some of that, particularly in certain pockets of our country. But I think that the idea that everyone is a bad person and suddenly everyone's racist and everyone's homophobic and everyone is part of the problem except for the communities themselves, when there could be improvement on both sides. There can always be improvement within and there can be improvement without. And I just really think that we should be focusing on both as opposed to pointing our fingers and ignoring all of our own room for improvement. So as I said, I hope that you guys can start a dialogue here in the comments. I love to hear differing points of view. I love to hear from the people who are of the same mindset as me, because sometimes I like knowing that I'm not crazy, I'm not alone, I'm not the only person feeling this way. But you know, sometimes I can learn from my opposition, and that's really genuinely how I formulated my belief system now, is listening to different perspectives, different stories, different experiences, and then building my foundation on that. And then, I mean, sometimes that does change, sometimes that does morph. I think there's certain things that never will, and that's okay, but I'm open for them too. And that's, I think that's the bottom line. It's just being open-minded. That's all it really takes. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Tom. You don't have to agree with anyone. Just being open-minded and being willing to have a rational dialogue. Because as soon as we attack someone and we shut them out and we assume what they believe or what they think or that their intent is malicious, then we've just missed an opportunity to connect with those people. And I think that there's so many beautiful examples of this, like Daryl, the guy who was a black man who went to KKK meetings and ended up convincing, was it a Grand Master or a Grand Dragon? I don't remember. But he ended up convincing one of the higher ups in the KKK to step down because he listened to where he was coming from. How many people would do that? And watch that guy's TED Talk. I'll actually link it below. It was such a beautiful story of just being able to listen and have a conversation. Because once you get heated, once you get upset, once you yell, once you start name calling and mudslinging, you've lost. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be encouraging growth. So how do you think we can encourage growth? What do you think our focuses need to be currently? I'm curious to hear your insights in the comments, but as always, please feel free to share your mental health stories, good, bad, and crazy, no matter where you are in your journey, no matter, as I said, what you believe, who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. Yeah, I just went 90s, so deal with it. If I can start to love rap thanks to Tom MacDonald, you can start to love 90s boy bands thanks to me. You're welcome. I'm just kidding. I love you guys, so I'm not really kidding. But I love you guys. I'm not kidding about that. and I will see you soon. Mwah.